Hello, everyone. I guess this video will be posted on Wednesday, so I hope everyone does have a great Thanksgiving on Thursday. But this is actually for this coming Sunday, which will be November 29th, and it's the first Sunday of Advent. And Advent season, Easter, Christmas Eve, um, there's a lot of traditions that go with these seasons. There's a lot of people who some of the times, the only times they go to church is Christmas Eve, Easter, or during the Advent season, and I found it interesting, at least for me, is when I went into ministry, went into seminary, not growing up in the church, not being familiar with church traditions, and those of you who know me know I'm not a big traditionalist. I really hate when the answer is because we've always done it that way. Because usually when the answer is because we've always done it that way, it means people forgot the reason they were doing it. A lot of things become routines in church. Um, and like I said, usually when I hear tradition, I think of something that has become routine. And usually when something becomes routine, it's lost its significance or lost its importance. Or people forgot why they're doing it and they just said, we've always done it that way. So I found when I was, first started pastoring and started doing the Advent, and seeing all the Advent candles lit and not growing up in the church and not hearing the history, I realized I didn't know a whole lot of what the Advent season was about. So in preparation, throughout my time in ministry, I've ended up doing a few different series on the Advent season, the Advent wreath, the Advent candles, and the meanings behind them and the purpose of this season. So this Sunday, the first Sunday of Advent, is beginning of a series that will take us up to the Christmas Eve service, if everything goes well and we can still have a Christmas Eve service and everything, where I will be touching on each Sunday of Advent, what that particular candle represents. But I'm not going to do the typical, hope, peace, love. I'm actually going to tell you the names of those individual candles and what they represent as far as the Advent season and what we're celebrating. Because the Advent season as a whole is really meant to be a season of preparation. It's supposed to be a season of celebration, anticipation, and fasting. It's preparing ourselves for the coming of the Messiah. And you can look at that in a twofold, threefold way. If you talk about the coming of the Messiah as we celebrate the birth, knowing that Jesus was actually born in the spring, not in the winter or in December like we're celebrating it. Actually, the celebration of Christmas comes from the pagan religions before it, where when the people became Christians, they didn't want to lose their end-of-year festivals that they really enjoyed. And when I did the hanging of the greens last year, I kind of explained how Christians took some of the pagan symbols and gave them Christian meaning. We talked about the evergreens. We talked about chrismons. We talked about a lot of different things last year in that hanging of the greens service. But this year, I am doing a series on Advent. I don't preach a whole lot of series. And I'll tell you why I don't preach a whole lot of series. Is I want anyone who comes in to church for the first time feel like they are not being left out. If you're preaching a series and you're on the third week of that series and somebody new comes to the church and they missed the first two, they may not really know what you've covered. And I know sometimes when people preach series, they go back and do a quick summary before they pick up. But I am preaching on Advent. The passage I'm going to use for this first Sunday is Isaiah 53. Isaiah 53 is very significant for this first candle and the name of the first candle. Now, I'm not going to tell anyone the names of the candles or the titles of my sermons until Sunday, because I think that's part of the... Now, I know sometimes... Bob Hoffer puts stuff in the newsletter, so if you read the newsletter and you have a great memory, luckily I don't have a great memory, so I could read the sermon title and probably not remember it 2 days later. But I am going to be reading Isaiah 53. So that is actually reading the whole passage, whole chapter, something I don't normally do, but it's relevant. It's really significant for the name of this first candle as we think about what the season's about. Anticipation, celebration, and the coming of the Messiah. And I think as you read that, Isaiah 53, I'm sure a lot of you are probably familiar with it, or at least have heard part of it. Jesus refers back to it when he's doing his ministry and his message to people. So even Jesus sees the significance of this passage in Isaiah. But I'm looking forward to, if nothing else, I'm hoping that through this week, the season of Advent, that everyone learns a little bit more about the Advent season. That this year, it's not just a routine. It's not just part of the same old, same old. All the Christmas decorations have to go in the exact same spot because that's always where they've been. You don't want to know where I am as far as putting up Christmas decorations. Not a big fan. I do the Christmas tree at our house, but I rather put it up in one room and keep it up year round. But no, I'm not a Scrooge. I'm just someone who has a problem with putting things up and taking them back down in pretty short order. But we will have if you would like to help us decorate on Saturday, we invite you to come in. I think it says 9 o'clock as a start time. If you're relying on me to put on all the decorations, you will probably be disappointed. But as we start the Advent season, my goal is for everyone to learn a little bit more, to not make it a routine, but actually see the significance of what this season's about. So if you're interested in hearing the name of the candles, each Sunday you will learn a name of a different candle, with that coming to an end at the Christmas Eve service. Now we are planning to do the 2 Christmas Eve services. We'll give more information out about that. But both will be upstairs in the sanctuary so we can do social distancing. The first one at 6 p.m. will just be the skit with some glow sticks and a song at the end. The 7 o'clock one will have skit with music in between the acts and stuff of the skit. We're looking forward to it. We're excited about it. I hope you can join us as we start this Advent season, and then you learn a little bit more, hopefully, about the candles and the purpose. So have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy if you're turkey or ham or whatever you're having, and I hope to see you in church visiting with us on Sunday. Thank you.